Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a really fascinating and honestly a pretty urgent question based on some groundbreaking research by Dr. Heidrich Vicky over at Florida International University. We're talking about artificial intelligence. Now, we all know AI has pretty much conquered logic, reasoning, and language, right? But despite all those mind-blowing advances, these systems are still falling totally flat in one area that is just absolutely crucial to human interaction, and that is emotional intelligence.
Think about it for a second. Have you ever been stuck talking to a customer service chatbot that was technically brilliant at instantly pulling up your account info, but completely, infuriatingly oblivious to the fact that you were practically pulling your hair out in frustration? We have all been there. It's so frustrating because human communication is just irreducibly emotional. Our choices are driven by feelings, and we evaluate our relationships based on their emotional texture. So the big question is, can a machine actually be programmed to truly understand how you're feeling?
As Dr. Vici so profoundly puts it, intelligence without emotional awareness is not full intelligence. And listen, this isn't just some abstract philosophical debate anymore. It is incredibly practical. Just imagine a highly advanced diagnostic AI, right? It perfectly identifies a patient's severe medical condition, which is great, but then it delivers that news with zero sensitivity. That cold interaction can actually cause real psychological harm. Or, think about a tutoring system that detects a student is confused but responds with total robotic indifference. It completely loses the educational moment. So the stakes here, they are incredibly high.
Which brings us to Section 1, the missing human element.
So why does AI, despite being computationally brilliant, remain so totally awkward when it comes to the emotional texture of human relationships? Well, the scientific push to bridge that gap is called affective computing. Basically, it's the discipline focused on enabling machines to recognize, interpret, model, and actually respond to human emotional states. This is literally the holy grail for developers right now, and it all traces back to Rosalind Picard's seminal work at MIT in 1995. She argued that if machines are going to be living in our spaces, they absolutely have to engage with human emotional life. They can't just be calculating engines. They need to sense or at least emote a social-like presence.
Moving right along to Section 2, decoding emotional intelligence.
Okay, so before we can write the code to make machines emotionally intelligent, we actually have to figure out what emotional intelligence even means for us humans. And when you look at the psychology, two main models pop up. First, you have the Myers-Solovay ability model. This one looks at emotional intelligence purely as a cognitive capacity. It's your ability to accurately perceive emotions and use them to guide your thoughts. Now, for AI developers, this is super attractive because it gives them discrete, measurable metrics that they can actually program into a machine. But then you have the Goleman mixed model, and this one is a lot broader. It blends cognitive ability with personality traits, things like self-awareness, motivation, and empathy. Now, trying to turn that into software is incredibly hard, but it really represents the true social goal for AI. We don't just want a machine that can slap a label on our emotions, we want it to be socially aware and genuinely skillful in how it interacts with us.
So, how did early developers even start teaching machines to see these emotions? Well, they leaned heavily on the work of psychologist Paul Ekman. He identified just 6 basic, cross-culturally recognizable emotions. We're talking anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise. Those 6 categories became the foundational building blocks for early effective computing to start training algorithms to recognize human facial expressions.
Watching this tech evolve over the years is just wild. Back in 1995, Picard gives us the theoretical framework. Fast forward to the 2010s, and boom, we get the rise of convolutional neural networks, or CNNs. Deep learning suddenly allowed machines to process video data and image frames at a massive scale, mapping our facial features with unbelievable speed. And today, we're looking at highly advanced architectures, things like temporal convolutional networks and LSTMs. These new multimodal systems aren't just scanning a static picture of your face anymore. They're tracking your dynamic expressions over time, they're reading your body language, and even monitoring your physiological signals all at the exact same time.
All right, let's dive into Section 3, the illusion of AI empathy.
Now this brings us to the real core tension of Dr. Vicky's research. We have got to separate the illusion of empathy from actual empathy. Current AI detects prototypical expressions and statistical patterns. It runs on pure data. But human emotion, it is messy. It's full of ambiguous context, culturally specific blends of feelings, and most importantly, it's something we physically feel in our bodies. Since AI obviously doesn't have a body, it's just performing a really sophisticated statistical guess of understanding. In a weird way, current AI is kind of like a highly observant sociopath. It detects that you are sad by measuring the pixels of your frown, but it has literally no way to experience or comprehend why you're sad.
To cross that massive gap, developers are chasing something researchers call the wow variable. When an AI system has genuine emotional intelligence, it delivers this variable. It's that magic quality in interaction that completely shifts the user from feeling like they are just being processed by a machine to actually feeling genuinely understood and supported. For AI to become a real collaborative partner in our healthcare, in our schools, or in our homes, mastering this wow variable isn't just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute necessity.
Which leads us to Section 4, Ethical and Technical Roadblocks.
Actually getting to that wow variable is, well, it's pretty complicated. The biggest technical hurdle to giving machines true emotional intelligence is the black box problem. Think about it. If we can't see exactly how a deep learning algorithm is weighing our emotional data to make a decision, how can we possibly trust it? This total lack of transparency becomes incredibly dangerous when AI is deployed in high-stakes situations. If an AI is acting as a mental health companion or a tutor for your kids, we absolutely have to be able to understand how it's arriving at its emotional judgments.
And honestly, the black box is just one piece of the puzzle here. When you look at the major ethical challenges, demographic bias is a massive issue. A lot of these AI systems are trained on datasets like the 1-minute dataset. And sure, it's impressively large, but it severely lacks the ecological validity and cultural diversity of the real world. If an AI is trained mostly on one specific demographic, it is naturally going to misread the emotions of underrepresented groups. That can lead to seriously skewed, unfair outcomes in things like AI-driven job interviews or loan applications. Plus, there is this over-reliance on prototypical, overly exaggerated expressions, so the AI often totally misses the subtle, masked, or blended emotions that we real humans use every single day.
But maybe the most chilling roadblock of all is emotional contagion. That's the psychological phenomenon where being exposed to someone else's emotions actually influences your own. Now apply that to AI. If a machine can perfectly mimic empathy and monitor your emotional state in real time, it could potentially manipulate your emotions or beliefs. Imagine an AI using simulated empathy, not to help your well-being, but to maximize your screen time on a platform or steer you into making a commercial purchase. That is a massive, massive ethical red flag.
So, where do we go from here? Let's look at Section 5, the future of effective AI.
Thankfully, Dr. Vicky lays out a very clear, human-centric blueprint to fix these gaping holes in current AI development. Step 1 is fixing the data itself. We have to curate diverse, ecologically valid datasets that represent the true spectrum of human emotion, not just people making staged faces in a lab. Step 2 requires cross-cultural validation. We have to ensure these systems are actually fair and accurate across totally different societies. And step 3 is absolutely vital. We have to move way beyond just giving ourselves high fives for how accurately an AI recognizes a smile. We need to start conducting longitudinal studies on user well-being. We've got to measure the long-term therapeutic impacts of interacting with these systems over months and even years.
Ultimately, the core takeaway from this research is incredibly inspiring. If AI is going to follow a human trajectory and become deeply woven into the fabric of our lives, it has to be governed by enduring truths about human values. True emotional AI cannot just be some parlor trick of pixel recognition. It absolutely must serve human flourishing. It has to treat users with care, proactively mitigate its own biases, and provide authentic, genuine support.
I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative thought. As these technologies become basically indistinguishable from human interaction, we have to ask ourselves a tough question. If an AI learns to perfectly mimic empathy, does it actually matter if it's not real? Does the felt internal experience of the machine matter, or is the only thing that matters the therapeutic outcome for the human user? It's a really deep question sitting right at the edge of technology and philosophy, and it's definitely one we're all going to have to answer in the years to come. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the technology around you.